So, hello everybody. So I right now I'm going through a pretty bad pain flare with my back, and I wanted to do a little series for people who may be experiencing the same types of pain that I am, because it's been a long and frustrating journey. I'm still on this long frustrating journey, so if people have things that they want to share with me, I would love that. I think that a lot of times people in online communities especially can help each other, especially if you have something that's kind of odd or weird as far as a health condition goes. I've learned a lot of things from just people posting stuff, which I've always been grateful for. So here I am. So I have had back problems since I was 12. The first time that I experienced something weird with my back, I was in a PE class. I went down for a burpee. I could not get it back up off the floor. So if you're not familiar with the burpee, that's where you put your arms up, you go down, you get into not a handstand, but a push-up position, and then you're supposed to pop back up. Could not pop back up, and I was just laid flat on the floor. I had never experienced anything like that. I was a very active child, barely ever sat still really until I got into middle school, which is when I started having more health problems. I was a gymnast, I was a dancer, I did horseback riding. I was just very active, and whenever I wasn't even, whenever I wasn't in class, I was homeschooled. So I had music going almost 24/7, and I was dancing almost 24/7, unless I had to sit down and do math for a little bit, right? Other than that, I was moving around. So I was extremely flexible. I had good endurance. I just really loved to move. And that was the first time I had ever experienced any kind of pain like that. And I was like, what? And I had noticed that my back was getting stiffer. My mid-back, I used to have this beautiful curve. You're supposed to be able to go into a curve when you push up your back or go down. I was having a very hard time rounding my back, and after I first experienced that incident with the burpee, my back just kept getting stiffer and stiffer. So I went to a doctor, and I was diagnosed with RA, which is, if I can remember, again, I had a brain fog moment, and when I'm in back pain, I have a brain fog moment. So that's what it is. Okay, rheumatoid arthritis. So I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and I was in 6th grade. Oh, hang on. What time is it right now? I gotta keep watch on the time because I have a meeting. Got 5 minutes. Okay. So I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis when I was 12. Could not bend my spine forward, and I'll just show you guys right now. So this is the curvature of my back at the moment. So most of the time you're supposed to be able to go up into a curve. This is as far as I can curve. That's how stiff my back is, okay? I can kind of go down a little bit. That's as far down as I can go down. Like, it's getting worse. But so I'm just kind of like a board like that. And basically, I was told, this is like a progressive condition. It's just going to get worse as you get older. And I was like, oh okay, that's great. And I learned how to manage it through diet and all that stuff. Then I started having more back problems as I would get older. So it used to be like every 2 years my back would go out. Then it was every year. And then it was every 6 months. And then it was every 4 months. And then it was every couple of weeks. And I went to several different doctors. I was told I had degenerative disc disease, which is genetic in my family. I was told I had spinal stenosis, which is genetic and in my family. And stenosis is when the cord is the spinal cord, when it passes through your spinal column, the spinal column is too small, so it pinches that nerve. So I had that issue. And then I just kept getting super frustrated because I was like, with the degenerative disc, I should feel getting relief if I do decompression, but I don't. With the spinal stenosis, I understand that part of it, and I'm probably going to need a surgery for that. But people were saying like, oh, but there's you still have enough room in there. We don't see why you would need a surgery. And I'm like, but I'm still having back pain. And people kind of look down on you if you don't come in with I hate to say it, but if you don't come in with a husband or someone who's really being your advocate. I think that women tend to people tend to think, oh, well, you're gonna have aches and pains because you have hormones and different things that happen through the month. And I'm like, no, this is way different than that. And I'm not just young and complaining about something because I want to have an ailment. That's not me. So I was super frustrated, and doctors would tell me like, well, you just need to stretch more, and I'm like, I stretch all the time, I'm a dancer, you know. And so, because I mean, I would stretch for like 4 hours a day and still feel stiff and still have a lot of back pain. And I'm like, if stretching fixed it, trust me, I would, you know, I can do the splits. That's not my issue. So, and I started looking up, why is my back flattening? Like my back, whenever it would go out, it would flatten, and I would lose the curve completely I've lost the curve completely in my neck, but I would lose curve in my back, in my mid back especially, in my low back. And so I was looking up like what's flat back syndrome, and so people were saying that that can be caused by ankylosing spondylitis, and I was like, oh my goodness, this looks more like what I have, like the inflammatory element to it, where sometimes it's not inflamed and sometimes it is, and the inflammation can make it worse. Changes in the weather can affect it. And as a woman, apparently it's very difficult to get diagnosed with this because it's typically seen as more of a male spinal issue. So imaging for it can be really tricky. So I'm still in the process of trying to figure out, you know, like, how do I get imaging for this? Anyway, I should actually, I'll pull up a list of symptoms and just put them on the screen, but that's like usually the stuff that I have issues with. And one of the main things that is different for women versus men with ankylosing spondylitis is that it's harder, or like at the beginning of the day, women feel better when they first wake up, and then as the day progresses, we feel worse, but it's reversed for men. So a lot of times people are like, oh, you don't have that because you feel worse towards the end of the day, so we got to look at something else. And it's like, no, that's just a male-female reverse issue, which is kind of weird. But so I was, you know, and I have been really trying to figure out what is wrong with my back. It's been frustrating because I had a spinal cord injury where I put a TENS unit on my spine. If I could undo one day in my life, it would be that day. That TENS unit zapped the root nerve in my back, and so now that is completely swollen, and anytime I have any kind of inflammation on that nerve, it's pushing up against the bones. So real fun. So recently I had gone on a 4-hour drive. I pretty much no longer sit. Like right now I have to be kind of like sprawled out here on the floor with my legs to even just sit for a second to stretch. So I had to sit in the car for 4 hours for a drive for work, and when I already knew that it wasn't going to be very pretty, and I got back and I continued to sit in the car, which was super dumb of me. Then I just felt like my back was just bad. I was like, there's nothing I can do about this now, it's just bad. So then I continued to teach throughout the week, and that made it worse because I was moving stuff around and sitting in the car and stuff. And so now I am off of work for 2 weeks. It's my third day off of work. I had the weekend, and now this is Wednesday. So I wanted to just kind of document this journey and see what I can figure out. It's extremely painful for me to lie on my back. It's extremely painful to lie on my side, and it's extremely painful for me to sit, and I can't lay on my stomach either. So I'm just like, whoa. So yeah, I will turn comments on for this video just because I feel like this is a community oriented video. If you have had back strolls and things like that, I would appreciate just your comments and your feedback, and if anything has helped you, if you're kind of on the same journey with me, if you have anything you want to share, that would be great. If you have things to share in the comments below with other people, that's great. Most of the time I do not have comments on just because I feel like people need to see material and then go live their life and go do something else. I really believe in that. But this I feel like is more of a forum starting discussion. So yeah, so I'm gonna just be kind of video journaling what I'm doing. So if I did find a relatively comfortable way to sleep last night, but it's really hard to get into that position. So I'll try to replicate what I did and show you guys, because I'm like kind of tilted on my side, sort of, with like supports on both sides and pillows all around me. So yeah, but I would appreciate prayers, and yeah, so just trying to figure that all out so that I can get back to work and do what I love to do. I am going to be looking at places where hopefully they treat female spines. Maybe not particularly, but they have treated female spines with the kind of issues that I have, and we'll go from there. On the plus side, I went from like 130 to 122 just because I'm trying to do, you know, like mostly fasting. I've eaten a little bit, but so I'm a little extra skinny on the top right now. I know some people might be like, ooh, but I'm a dancer, so I'm always like, oh, the thinness is wonderful. But yeah, so we'll work together and see what we can come up with, and I'm just praying that the Lord will show me what he wants me to do. And yeah, so much love to all of you guys. I know I have a couple new subscribers on here. I'm not doing this for subscribers, but you know, thanks for stopping by and thinking that this channel is worth subscribing to. So yeah, and I just document my life. I'm trying to, you know, have my whole life documented. That's what I'm doing with this channel. So if you're ever like, why is there like this random stuff on here, it's just my life. So I'm just documenting that because I like doing it. So yeah, anyway, have a great day, and I'm sure this will be part of a longer series of videos or one long video. I haven't decided. So anyway, all right, peace and love, and I will see you guys later.